A little summary for you guys. In that video, I was saying that Meghan's new business venture is the subject of rumors and speculation. Some people are suggesting that she's working on an autobiography. Royal biographers especially are making these claims. Tom Bower, an author, expressed the view that Meghan is writing her memoirs as a potential money spinner. Royal historian Andrew Lowney also mentioned that both Meghan and Harry have more books in the works. Meghan's possible book could be a tell-all about her experiences within the royal family, causing some concern among royal aides. But the possibility of Meghan and Harry releasing books might create a lot of controversy, and it would definitely disrupt their support base in the US. And now let's hear what you had to say. Alright, first up, we have a comment from Irene. If I had written and illustrated that book, The Bench, it would never have been published, even if I had offered to fund all publication and productions cost myself. Of course it wouldn't have been published. I mean, that was the stupidest book. It didn't even make sense. The only reason that thing got published was because Meghan made sure to put that Duchess title in front of her name. And remember, back then, people were still hopeful. People still thought that Harry and Meghan were going to be able to make something of themselves in the US. Looking back, that thought seems ridiculous, but back then it seemed possible. And next, we got a comment from Hans Lass. Well, we all know that writing a whole book would be far too much work for the lazy grifter, so she'll probably get Scooby-Doo to do it for her. I certainly wouldn't buy anything this woman is involved in, even in a small way. No doubt the Sugars will enjoy her book, assuming they can actually read. Honestly, those Sugars are so stupid they probably can't read. And I think most of us agree, most of us would never want to buy anything that Meghan is selling. And then we got a comment from Gigi. I didn't buy Harry's book, and I sure wouldn't waste my money on her book. She's a nobody now, and Harry, in my opinion. It goes without saying that I agree with you, Gigi, and that's why I don't even understand why she would bother writing a book. Nobody is going to be interested in hearing what she has to say. And then Annette responded saying, I don't buy books and magazines with pictures or photos of Harry and Meghan. I don't want to see them lying around my house. I don't blame you. I mean, imagine you're just trying to go to the bathroom or something and you look down and see their faces. That'd be terrifying. Oh, and then I see Ralph is back with us. Hello, Ralph. Ralph says, then why are you here? Well, I'm sorry, Ralph, but we could ask you the same question. And then Harriet Williams says basically the same. Harriet says she's a nobody, but yet you're here commenting. Make it make sense. Harriet, I kind of wonder why you're here on this channel too. Anyway, moving on, we've got Briar Sutton. If this doesn't take everything royal from them, then Charles needs to step down and let the real king take the throne. I believe many people are going to be saying that. Frederic, useless book. Well, that's an understatement. Wayne, oh really? Meghan and Harry are so out of touch. Again, what an understatement. Judith, she's over the hill now. She is over the hill. She's not going to be able to find another rich man to marry her. Sue Clark says, I wonder what Meghan's book cover will look like and what the title will be. Maybe Lies, My Truth, with her photo blankly staring straight ahead, or with the signature supersized grin. More books from them will supply us with more entertaining content. I wish the former staff and others would have their NDAs revoked and they would publish their own tell-alls to come out at the same time as the others' books. Doesn't seem right that those two seem to always be the only ones with a voice. I've noticed that too, Sue, and that really makes their claims that they don't have a voice all the more ludicrous. And then Carrie, what else do they have to say that anyone cares about? The only book that would be worth the paper it's written on would be from all the people they have used and abused. Now that is a book I would love to read. I wish the Sussex Survivors Club would get together and write a tell-all about her. Next comment comes to us from Helen. Helen says, I have heard earlier today Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are on holidays again. Would you believe? Probably couldn't stand the stress in New York City. Wah. Oh yes, we heard all about that little getaway. Well, you know though, Helen, we can't blame them for that. They were just so tired. They put in a whole 2 days worth of work in New York. I mean, come on, they needed a break. And next comment is from 820. Maybe she will pull up her chair and read her story to all of us. I hope that never happens. And then Veronica, her memoirs. Will the book be X-rated, as we all know what her past has included? Not for children to hear. As for her being a member of the royal family, well, she was only part of it for a short time. The only thing she could talk about is what she has extracted from her miserable husband, and most of us know those details anyway. And again, that's why it doesn't even make sense for Meghan to write a book. I mean, we know it's going to be a bunch of lies and nobody's going to want to buy it, so why even bother? And then Paula posed an interesting question, off topic, FYI question, at what age are children required to have a passport to travel internationally? Just asking, thank you. Now, we've got some replies that I didn't look at, but Paula, I will tell you, as far as I know, they're required to have a passport from the time they're born. It's not difficult to get a passport for an infant either. I actually have a niece who lives abroad with her husband, and they had to get a passport for their baby when she was born so that she could travel to see the rest of the family. So as far as I know, I'm not sure, maybe in different countries there are different rules, but as far as I know, nobody is allowed to travel internationally without a passport. And then Phyllis says, who scored bothered by these books? People got more things to worry about than these two. Why should we buy their books? We know what the light I want to do, so why bother? Bother by the book, Meghan, as well as buy them. We can't afford to waste money on these two. These two have got money, we haven't got nothing, so we won't waste her money on these two. We've got to put food and pay bills, not worry about their books. Thank you. Phyllis, this is a very good point that you are making, especially these days when prices are just sky high on absolutely everything. I mean, who's got money to waste on buying a book from these two? Next comment is from Magpie. Wallis Simpson and Diana never put the royal family down the way Meghan Markle has. This is very true, and this is a big difference between Meghan and Wallis and Diana. Now, Wallis and Diana were no angels, but they didn't do anything like Meghan has done. I mean, I think those women just wanted to live their lives and they wanted to be happy. They wanted to be true to themselves. Meghan, on the other hand, she has made it her mission in life to try to bring down the royal family. And then Judy, someone tells me Meghan can't come back. Could it be because she might get locked up? Or she could be outed because someone wants to know, where is the royal jewelry, Meghan? It's a very good question indeed. And I've heard, or I've read rather, that William is not going to give up on this. He wants to know what happened to his mother's ring. And then Briar says she won't take her life. She likes herself too much. I think you're right about that. She'll threaten to so that it can get her some attention and maybe some sympathy, but she wouldn't really follow through. And Susie says why she thinks everyone is interested in her life. I don't know why she thinks that. I mean, I guess because she lives in a fantasy world. And then Jody says, very nice and truthful video. Thank you very much for the compliment, Jody. I really appreciate it. And then Brenda, why doesn't she write about her life before the royals? Now that would be interesting. But no, she only wants to write about a split second that she was living in the UK. Well, she doesn't want to write about her life before she was a member of the royal family. Come on. Have all those skeletons come tumbling out of the closet? No way. And then Jill Fish, she's bullying and blackmailing, extortion maybe. Well, these are the things she knows how to do best. User HK, we heard this before. I don't think Meghan Markle knows what she wants other than making people's lives miserable. This is a very good point. I mean, that woman is clearly lost. She's so mixed up, but she does want people to be just as miserable as she is. And then a comment from Carol, I'm really sick of all the publicity given to this couple. I only want to see the truth come out about the rent-a-kid deception. It's gone on way too long. Those two should lose their titles and any chance of benefiting from the royal family. Carol, you know I agree with you, but they're not going to give it up. They are going to keep on shoving themselves down our throats until I don't know what has to happen to finally make them stop. But obviously, they don't care that nobody likes them. That's not going to stop them. And I agree with you. I would love for the truth to come out about those invisible children. That is what I care about more than anything. And then Teresa, I have no intention of reading either book the two would write. Most of us agree on that, at least. Baby GT, I would never listen to anything she has to say. Well, of course not. You're obviously a lot smarter than she gives you credit for. Sheila, don't care, would not buy it because you know it all. She wasn't there long enough, so why would anyone want to help her to get rich? Just my opinion, allegedly. Well, it's my opinion too. I think it's an opinion a lot of us share. And then Patricia says, how has she the time to write a book when she's jetting all the country within cars, planes, and gate crashing everywhere? That is also a very good question. I mean, how would she possibly find the time? Oh, maybe because she's just going to pay some ghostwriter to do it. That's how she would find the time. And then Wendy says, what about her early life with her first marriage to Joe when she was at university? Joe's parents got that annulled by the Pope. That will do for starters. Allegedly, there is a photo of Meghan in a wedding dress beside Joe and another of Joe holding the child. Yes, I would also like to have more information on that whole situation. I mean, I've heard rumors that she really did give birth to some girl, and where the girl is now, who knows, but I would like to find out. And next comment comes from Beverly. I think that Prince Philip would have kicked King Charles's arse and sorted Harry and Meghan by now. Prince Philip would not have put up with any of this. I think that is certain. And next, Antonia. Hollywood is treating like garbage, and I don't see her being suicidal there. And Betty Boop, they have not had the life that most of us common people have had. I bet we all can write a tell-all book, and we would be able to make money off of it. I'm sure we all have better stories than those two crybabies have to tell. All her book will talk about me, and how she got caught lying. They need to be put in their place real quick. Personally, I'm sick of hearing about these two. I had never heard of Me again until she married Ginger, and all I've been hearing is how they feel they have been slighted and blaming others for their actions. They need to be shut up permanently with a gag order. I agree with you that I'm sure all of us have better stories to tell than those two, but nobody is paying us money to write a tell-all book, and they shouldn't be paying Meghan anything either. And then Sarah echoes some other sentiments. Why would anyone believe a word she has to say? I don't think anyone will. Next comment is from HR. Meghan would feel slighted or insulted if she sneezed in an empty room and no one said God bless you. Well, yes, because Meghan's favorite role to play is victim, so she's always looking out for opportunities. And Bonnie says, I won't be buying any Harkle books or anything else. Lily, I already know enough about her. The autobiography would be a piece of fiction, perhaps based on some facts. I think you're more generous than you need to be. It'd be based on a bunch of lies is what it would be based on. And then we've got Chris writing a book the royal family will slap illegal action on her in a big way, and they'll unbury the bullying report, and it certainly won't reflect either of them in a good light. I think you're making a good point here. Meghan needs to be careful. She is messing with somebody she doesn't want to mess with. And then Sherry, she needs to be careful about what she writes and who she is writing about. If she names people who worked in the palace that she doesn't like, people who cooperated with the bullying investigation, they can sue. Then the palace will have to release the report. It all will come out in court. She would be cutting off her nose to spite her face. But isn't that exactly the kind of thing that she would do? I mean, she's already shown us time and time again. Considering possible consequences is not her strong suit. And then Yvonne says, I really wish that Trevor and Jessica Mulroney would write their books about me again. I think that would be a stick in her horrible plans. I do wish they would do it. I mean, I understand. They are living their own lives. They don't want to think about her. But wouldn't it just be great to hear what they have to say? And Wendy, The Book of Lies by Meghan Markle. Perfect title. Paula, in my opinion, Meghan rarely has an original idea in her mind. She will have her ghostwriter read Wallace, Diana, and Sarah's books. She would then use those books as a template for what to say about the 3 seconds she was a working royal, in my opinion. Ironically, in my opinion, Wallace and Diana would not like Meghan much, and tell Meghan off every chance they got. Thank you. Thank you for this comment, Paula. I think you are spot on. I mean, you make a good point that Meghan plagiarizes. She doesn't have any original ideas. So I'm sure if she really is writing a book, it's going to be exactly like you say. She's going to take other people's books and she's going to copy them. Because seriously, what could she say about the time spent as a working royal? It was such a short period of time. If Meghan writes a book about the time she spent as a working royal, we can't even call it a book. It's more like a pamphlet. And then a comment from Margaret Spencer. If more books are being written, let's hope they check back about what they've already written, probably more lies. Well, I don't think they would check on what they've already written because that's a habit of theirs. They'll say something and then they forget it and then they contradict themselves. I mean, there are so many examples of this. And then Glenda says, Harry's book should be uncontrollable, my or the highway. He certainly is out of control, isn't he? And the sad thing is, he doesn't have control of himself. Annette says, if she hates the UK and the royal family, why does she use the title? Annette, that is a question we have asked so many times, and we are not any closer to having an answer. And Janet Black says, I do not think Harry wrote Spare himself. He had a ghostwriter for most of it who quit before finishing it. I think it is more than likely Meghan Markle finished it. I do not see Harry with his limited educational background having written any of that book. He probably provided content information, but I doubt put pen to paper. We said the same thing, especially some of those stories about Meghan, like that she was singing to the seals and the seals were singing back. 100%, that was written by Meghan Markle herself. And we've got some responses to this comment. Donna says, I saw the ghostwriter said that Meghan was the one that wrote Spare. He said she would show up at the ghostwriter's cottage and wrote the book. I mean, just pushing her way in as always. And then Med G says, agreed totally. Scott, he can barely talk. Writing would be a bridge too far. Poor thing, bless his heart. I don't believe he has the intellectual capacity either to have written that book. And then we've got Sassy Cat. We all know she can't stick to anything longer than a few days, and every other word will be I or me. Absolutely right. Next comment from My Mitty, I think is how you say it. We have the secrets of Haz's Todger. Will we have the secrets of her kitty? Ooh, I hope not. That will be hot. OMG. She should watch out. She might have no need to take her own life. Diana was killed in a car accident. She might have a plane crash for a change. She is so keen on Diana's aura. Ugh, gross. I don't even want to think about that part of Meghan Markle's body. And then Malika, if I were Meghan Markle, I would define my expertise and then focus on one expertise. Does anyone know what she is an expert at that is positive? Who wants to buy her problems? I don't. Well, she's an expert, though, at having problems and complaining. That is her expertise. And then Jean says, neither one of them act like adults, more like minors that still need their mommies. Vicky, maybe Meghan Markle is writing a book about how she is raising children and how to be as great a mother as she is. Or maybe she is writing a book about surrogacy. Who knows? I like those two options. Both are possible. Maybe she is vicious, absolutely. Barbara, title for Markle's book, My Life as a Call Girl, or How to Destroy a Reputation in Record Time. Both of those would be very fitting titles, I think. Next comment from Valentina. She's Markled herself. There's really not a whole lot she can do at this stage to redeem herself. I wonder what else they have to talk about. More lies. That's it. It is funny, isn't it, how she was such a horrible, insufferable person that she has ruined her own life. And then Heather says the weight she has lost on her face makes her look much older than she actually is. Is it weight loss? Is it more weird plastic surgery? Who knows? But I agree with you. Woman is looking rough. And then Sweta, the more Harry and Meghan write their stories, people would get more bored. She was there for the shortest time, so what is there to complain? I mean, there's nothing, but that's never stopped her before. All right, everybody, it looks like that is all for today. As always, thank you so much for leaving so many amazing comments. I mean, some were insightful, some were downright hilarious, some really made me think about some things in a new way. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't forget to hit that like button and share it with anybody else who would appreciate it. And if you have not already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss a single video from Kate Middleton and the Queen team. Again, thank you so much for coming here today and tuning in. I hope that you have a lovely day, and I'll be back to see you in the next videos.